Okay, so Rhyme Tov, everybody. We're ready for our next exciting installment of the Parshas Bo, which has the last three makos. Guess what? I remembered that picture of shechting a lamb. So, but first, I want to warn you that, there's going to be a little bit of blood. It's a normal thing that Jewish people shecht lambs. If you're afraid of looking at blood, then cover up your eyes. Okay, there's nothing scary about it, but maybe some people don't like looking at blood. So I'm going to just tell you there's going to be a little bit of blood, not a lot, but you're going to get an idea of what the Jewish people did when they shechted their Korban Pesach. It probably looked something like this. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to share the screen. Okay. Do you see the picture? Do you see a picture of a sheep on the ground?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Let's make it a little bigger. Okay, there's the little sheep.
Yeah.
He's alive. Now you notice, look where my little pointer is, by his feet. Do you see my pointer by his feet? His feet are tied up. Okay, now, when the Jewish people brought the Korban Pesach, after the sheep was killed, they roasted it, the full sheep, the way it is. Okay, so let's just take a look. It's going to take a few seconds, and you're going to hear that you even make a bracha. Do you know that? You make a bracha before you slaughter an animal. In Hebrew, the word is called shechita. Shechita is when you take a knife and you kill the animal the way Hashem tells you to do it. You need to know something, boys and girls. Hashem gave us a Torah, and in the Torah, he teaches us to behave in the nicest way possible. And if the Torah says that we have to take an animal and take its life, it's in the kindest way. And Hashem, who made all the animals, knows what's the best way to kill the animal according to the way the Torah wants us to do it. So therefore, you're going to see, and therefore we make a bracha. And let's see if you can listen really well, because the person's going to say the bracha very fast. And if you don't pay attention, you won't hear the bracha. So this is going to take about a minute. They're going to show you this little sheep is outside. And there's a lot of kids watching this. So I think you could see this. So let's hear what's going on. This is probably what they did pretty much like in Egypt. And when we had a Beis HaMikdash, this is what they did.
Okay. When I'm going to chef, I want to make sure that I chef the kuna and the vesha. The kuna is the windpipe, and the vesha is when the food goes through, the suffocate. These are the two simunim that we need to chef in order to buy them into the kosher.
Now he's going to bring the knife soon. You're going to see the knife soon.
You need to hold the string back. Amen.
There's the blood. Now, even though it's been slaughtered, you see the grass is a little bit red. It's a few seconds, it jumps around. But then and that's it. It's not alive anymore. It fulfilled its purpose. Now, that's a pretty big sheep. There's a lot of meat on that sheep. You don't have to use such a big sheep for a Korban Pesach. See that the red grass is where the blood was? Okay, so now you see, you're getting a look at the whole sheep. So when we had to do a Korban Pesach, they take a big stick from the back of the sheep through its mouth, and then keep the legs would still be tied, and they would roast it, and they'd eat it, and it would roast like that, the whole thing. Maybe they would take the skin off of the animal. That's a thing they do, but they'd roast it all. Nowadays, we don't do this. And I don't want to show you the rest of the video. The rest of the video, they skin off the animal and they cut it up into little pieces so people can eat little pieces when they cook it up. But when we have Pesach, the whole sheep with the head and everything got roasted. Why? Because the Egyptians thought that this sheep was their avodah zarah, was their idol. And that sheep gave them all their blessings in the world. And Hashem said, no, you're going to shecht, just like you saw that you saw how the man killed the sheep. So too did hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Jewish people in Egypt kill the sheep just like that out in the open to show that we do not believe that sheep or anything else are like Hashem. So that's what they saw, and you could believe the Egyptians were very not happy seeing that. Now, did you hear when the man made a bracha right before? So it's on the mitzvah of shechita, because we do it only because Hashem tells us that that's the mitzvah to do, and we do it like that mitzvah. Okay, so that was our little movie for the day. And now we continue with the story. Now, you remember, I told you there's a few things we have to take care of. And one of the things is that Hashem asked Moshe, please go to the Jewish people and ask them to borrow money from their Egyptian neighbors. And you remember what I told you yesterday, because Hashem made a promise to Avram. He said that your children, your great-great-grandchildren are going to be slaves in Egypt. And then at the end of that, I will punish the Egyptians. You will go free, and the Jewish people will go out rich. The Torah says a rechush gadol, with a great wealth. And Hashem says to Moshe, I'm afraid that maybe Abraham will be upset with me. He'll say, well, you made the Jewish people slaves, but when they left, they didn't leave with any money. So he says, go to the Egyptians and tell every Jewish person to ask the Egyptians that they want to borrow things. So let's continue this part of the story. Now, this is also a very dangerous mission. Let me ask you, when exactly were they going to borrow? Remember, Hashem told the Jewish people, nobody goes out of their house tonight. Tonight, the Malach HaMaves, the angel of death, meaning Hashem, is coming to kill all the firstborns, and you stay in your house. And you could hear the screaming all over Egypt. You go, my little son died. All kinds of screaming. It was dark and screaming all over the place. Who is going to go knocking on an Egyptian person's door and asking for their gold and silver? Who's going to do that? Do you have any idea who that was? So this is not everybody knows this. Well, Hillel, do you think you know what it is? Or Tehillah, somebody? I see you got your own screens.
The Jews got them. And
yes. the Jews did, but which Jews? Which Jews did? Yes, Matana.
Shevet of Levi?
Good guess, but no, we needed more than just Shevet Levi.
Yisro?
No. There's 600,000 Jews. We need a lot of people to get the stuff. You know, it's very interesting. Hashem said in the Torah, no man shall go out of his house. So you know what happened? The women went. The girls, the mommies, they did the scary thing. They went in the streets when there were people screaming, ah! And all that screaming in the dark. And they were knocking on the doors. They were not scared. You see, Jewish women are not afraid. The Jewish women are the heroes. So let's show you what happened. Let's just say, for example, that Mrs. Schwartz goes on to knock on the Egyptian neighbor, Mr. Ibrahim. Mr. Ibrahim, knocks on the door. And he goes, who's there? Who's there? Leave me alone. My children just died. Don't bother me. I told you not to bother me. And hello? It's Mrs. Schwartz. Mrs. Schwartz, what are you doing here? Oh, my kids are dead over here. I wanted to ask you if I can borrow your gold plates, your gold forks, your gold knives, and also your very precious jewelry. I don't have any jewelry. I don't have anything like you're talking about. A lie. I never, it doesn't in my house. So remember what the Jews did during darkness last week? They snuck in the houses and looked. They said, oh, you don't mind if I go over to the cupboard over here and just pull it out and see what's there. Do you mind? And she pulls it out, and there it is, exactly what she asked for. The gold plates, the gold spoons, the gold this, the jewelry, and this and that. I said, now, don't you think you should lend it to me? Well, okay, here, take it. You can have it. Just get out of here and get your Jews out of here. We're all dying because you. That's what happened. Every house in Egypt. Another Jewish lady came. Can I borrow this? Can I borrow this? And they knew exactly where everything was, and they were able to take everything. And the Jewish people, they were loaded up. They went to house to house to house. And it's not like they just had a little bit of this or a little bit of that. The Jewish people, there's a lot of different opinions. But one midrash says that every Jew, not all the Jews, every Jew, when they left Egypt, they took, you know how many donkeys they took? A donkey carries stuff. They didn't take one donkey. They didn't take two. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, they took 90. 9 with a 0. Every Jew had 90 donkeys, and they were loaded up with gold, silver, and pearls. They left rich. Every Jew, a multi-gazillionaire. Whoa. And that was to keep the promise that Hashem made to Avram. Now, I know, boys and girls, you're thinking about something. I know what you're thinking, and you're going to think of the question, aren't the Jews lying? They said they want to borrow it. But they're not going to borrow it. We know what's going to happen. They're going to keep it. So since when do Jewish people lie? Jewish people are not supposed to lie. So what could go on over here? Yes, Adina thinks she knows the answer.
Because people
the people were like, get out of here, take whatever you want. They didn't say, okay, just give it back to me after.
Well, that's an interesting answer. But remember, the Jews said they wanted to borrow it. And it seems that the Egyptians thought that maybe they were only borrowing it. They said, just take it, get out, but you're borrowing it. So why do you think that's so? So there's a lot of really deep answers that you got to be older to understand. But I'm going to tell you one answer that even anybody could know what it is. And you know what it is? Do you know when the Jews became slaves? Remember we went back a few weeks ago, the Egyptians didn't say, hi guys, would you like to be slaves? No, they tricked them into being slaves, right? They tricked them. Hold on for a minute. They tricked them into being slaves. Now, you know what's the worst part of being a slave is when you get tricked into being a slave. So Hashem had to punish the Egyptians mida keneged mida, measure for measure. Because Hashem still has one big surprise left. And that big surprise is going to be next week. Next week, when lots of Egyptians are going to drown in the Yam Suf. So Hashem said, listen, this is what we're going to do. Listen to this tricky plan. We're going to ask them to lend. We're going to borrow it. And then what's going to happen? We're going to go to the Yam Suf. And all those Egyptians said, wait a minute, I don't trust them. They're not going to give me back that stuff. I think we've been tricked. So you know what's going to happen? All the Egyptians are going to chase after the Jews to get their money back. Now, that's called the trick. Why is it the trick? Because when the Egyptians chase after the Jews, otherwise they're just going to stay home. They chase after the Jews, and the Jews go in the Yam Suf, in the Sea of Reeds, and now the Egyptians follow us, and we get to the other side, and now when they're in the water, wow, they get all drowned. So how did they get all drowned? Because we tricked them into following us. We tricked them into following us. And now that's the mida keneged mida. They tricked us into being slaves. We tricked them into following us. But there's one more important thing I have to tell you. That, you know what? The Jews were allowed to have it. You know why? Imagine if you work for somebody for 50 years and you don't get paid. Doesn't the guy owe you money? And what did they give the Jews? Zero. Nothing, nada. So therefore, they have to get paid back. So that's what Hashem said. Hashem said it's only fair that the Jewish people get paid back. So now you go ask for all that stuff. You say you're borrowing it because you want to trick the Egyptians, so we're going to kill them. But it's really not borrowing. They owe you millions of dollars. And it's not just regular work that made you suffer, work that made you cry. They killed your children too. And that's something they have to pay for, and a lot. So therefore, the Jewish people were entitled to it. So therefore, we weren't liars. We weren't cheaters. It was just a way of Hashem evening it out and paying us back. Okay, so somebody had a question before. Let's see whose hand is up. Adina, what do you want to comment?
And I think there's also a different kind of answer, maybe. But it's also that they also stole all that money from the Jews. So it really was the Jews.
Okay, they did steal some stuff from the Jews too. That's true. That's true. Yes, Hillel? Press unmute.
Did they just lie so then they can take the things back and then live again, and then they can die because they were being mean and they deserve to die, and Hashem made them do it?
Yes,
So
exactly. They all deserve to die.
Punishment.
Yep, exactly. You got it. Now, let's continue on with the exciting part of the story. So now in the middle of all that, the Jewish women are going out and getting all that money, just going to have all that stuff. And now Makas Bechoros, the Bechorim, are the firstborn are dying. But you know what? They didn't all die the same way. You know, Hashem watches every little thing. Now, some Egyptians were mean to the Jews. Some Egyptians were really mean to the Jews. And there were some Egyptians that were just not mean, that were cruel, that were torturous, they were the worst. So now, when it's time for Hashem to kill the firstborn, they didn't all die the same way. Now, if you were just a regular evil Egyptian, but not so evil, what happened is in 1 second, you were alive and then you died. In 1 second. Didn't hurt a lot. If you were not such a nice guy, then you died much slower. And it was painful. You know, there's a difference between a guy going, and dies, or going, I can't breathe. It's hurting me. It hurts. Ow, ow, ow. And you go, ow, ow, ow for 3 hours. And then you die. That's a lot worse. So Hashem measured every Russia according to what kind of Russia he was. And if you were a good Russia, you died quickly. But if you were a Russia, then it took a long time. And that's where Hashem paid back. Now, there's one more important thing that we cannot forget. Well, there was a lot of things had to be done before the Jews left, which we'll talk about tomorrow. But one thing, they needed the money. So let's make a little checklist. Let's see, do the Jews have what they need when it's time to leave? Okay, are all the Jews here? Yes. Okay, only the Jews who wanted to. Only the Jews who brought a Korban Pesach, remember. Now, do they have their money? Check. Oh, but there's something else. Do you remember Yosef? Remember Yosef told his brothers that when I die, you should take me out of Egypt because I want to be buried in Eretz Yisrael. Well, there was a big problem. You know what the problem was? Akiva, do you know what the problem was?
Yes, it's that Hara took Yosef's coffin and he threw it into the Nile.
Yes, exactly.
So,
Paro, when a person dies, they're buried in a box. And if you're a very important person, a strong box. And they took the box that Yosef was dead in, and they tossed it into the Nile River. And the Nile River is big. It went bloop, 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 all the way to the bottom. Now, they did that for a lot of reasons. Number one, they thought if Yosef's body was in the Nile River, it would bless the Nile River, and they have lots of water. But what the main thing was, is they figured, well, Yosef made his children, and the Jewish people promised they would take him out of Egypt. But if they don't know where he is, and he's at the bottom of the water, how is that going to happen? So they're never going to leave. That was Paro's plan. So now Moshe's, while everybody is collecting money, and they're trying to get the money to be able to leave as rich people, Moshe was not interested in money. He was interested in finding the bones of Yosef. And he's looking around and he couldn't find the bones of Yosef. After all, who was alive at the time that Yosef died? That was a long time ago. But there was an old Jewish lady. Her name was... Yes, Akiva, do you know what her name was?
Sarah Bas Usher.
Very good. Serach, the daughter of Usher. She remembers where he was buried exactly. She was a very old woman at the time. She took Moshe to the very spot in the Nile River, pointed to this spot, and said, right here, Paro's magicians put Yosef's body in a metal coffin, and they sank it to the bottom of the Nile River. So Moshe stood by the river and he said the following, Yosef, Yosef, the time has arrived for Hashem to fulfill his promise of redeeming the Jewish people. And the time's come to fulfill our promise to you. Just put your hands down. I'm going to be talking for a while. And if you come up, we'll take your coffin and we'll take you to Eretz Yisrael. But if you don't, there's nothing we can do. And then what did Moshe do? He wrote on a metal sheet the special holy name of Hashem. The very holy name of Hashem. He dropped it into the water, and then the most amazing thing happened. That coffin started to rise up by itself out of the water all the way to the top. And then it came out, and Moshe knew this was the coffin that he's going to take out. And not only did Moshe take that coffin, but he took all the Shevatim, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, all 12 tribes. They were all taken out, and they would travel home with the Jewish people. Okay. Yes, Akiva, what is the burning issue here?
Moshe wrote on a coin, Ale Shar, and dropped it into the water.
That's right. Exactly. Ale Shor, you know all the details. Amazing. Okay, so now let's see. Do we got the money? Check. Do we got Yosef? Check. Do we got all the Shvatim? Check. Missing anything? We got all the Jewish people ready to go. But then there were some other people. There were some Egyptians who were pretty nice Egyptians. They were the best of the Egyptians. And it said, Moshe, can't we go with you also? We don't like being here in Egypt. We don't like being, Pharaoh was a mean king. We couldn't do anything. We want to convert. We want to be Jews. Moshe says, well, I think that's only fair. If you really want, you want to be Jews? You want to be Hashem's people? Yes. And Hashem said,
cause so much trouble later on.
Oh, no, yeah, hold on. So Hashem said, I don't think it's a good idea. But Moshe said, no, these people have seen all the miracles you did. They want to accompany us. They want to see more miracles. They know that there's no other power but Hashem. Hashem said, okay, I can't say no, but I think you're going to get trouble from them later. You know, these people are called the Erev Rav. They are called the Erev Rav, which was the best that the Egyptians had to show. Now, someone said, okay, you could join us. And then there was one other person we can't forget. Who else from Egypt, besides these people, one other person from Egypt deserved to go out? Ellie, do you know who that is? You got to unmute, Ellie. I know you're looking for it. Oh, you unmuted. What is it? Oh, now you're muted again. You got to unmute. Keep it unmuted. That's it.
Yo.
Who? Yo. That's an interesting answer. I don't know any midrash that talks about that. It would make sense. But no, not him. Yes, Matana. Yisro, that would make sense. But the problem was Yisro was not in Egypt. He ran away and he was in Midian, so he couldn't come with us. But he comes back later. But there's a real full-fledged Egyptian, 100% Egyptian. And I'll give you a hint. It was a lady. I'll give you one more hint.
Sarah.
Okay, Adina, I think knows.
Bisya.
Bingo! You got it. She got to go too. And of course, she deserved it because she saved Moshe Rabbeinu's life. And not only did she get to go out of Egypt, but 40 years later, when the Jews went to Eretz Yisrael, she got to go to Eretz Yisrael as well. Okay. Well, now let's see. We got ladies. We got Bishop. What?
Did she become a Jew?
Yep, for sure. And then there's one other thing they took. You know, they're going to be building a Mishkan in the middle of the desert later on. And the Mishkan's built out of wood. So they schlepped big cedar trees that Yaakov Avinu planted in Egypt. Big trees that they're going to need later for their building the Mishkan. Jews are all ready to go, but there's one thing they're missing. They're going in the desert. What about food? That's going to be an issue. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the food. You could think about where in the world
they made matzah.
We'll see what
bread
happens.
And then it hardened.
Okay, you got to hang on, sweetheart. We're going to see what happens with that. But right now, we're going to stop the recording.